Chapter 24 is quite a very interesting chapter. Just like chapter 22, it's filled with a lot of beautiful, beautiful revelation. It's mostly, I title it A Bride for Isaac. It's a chapter where we're going to see Isaac being given to, a wife being given to Isaac, or a bride being given to Isaac. A very interesting one because there's a lot of analogies, spiritual analogies that are around chapter 24, just like chapter 22. 24 describes in great detail how Rebekah came to the world to be the wife of Abraham's son, Isaac. The story of chapter 24 begins with what sounds like a deathbed scene. Though Abraham is going to live for another 35 years, though it would seem like he's about to die at the time when this chapter started, Abraham summoned his oldest and most trusted servant, and he commissioned the man with specific instructions and mission. He actually told the man that he must find a wife from among Abraham's people back in Mesopotamia, that is, in Ur of the Chaldees. Abraham was so urgent that he required the servant to swear an oath binding himself to completing this particular task. More specifically, the servant must allow Isaac never to marry a Canaanite woman. Neither must he allow Isaac to ever leave the promised land, should even the need ever arise. Plus, he ensures and he repeats and he specifically emphasizes that Isaac should never leave Canaan. In fact, whatsoever. In fact, it was either, if the servant is to go to Mesopotamia, and for whatever reasons it was required that Isaac goes to Mesopotamia for him to have a wife, it was either he's to stay in Canaan without a wife, or the wife comes to Isaac in Canaan. We'll start a bit of that in verses 1 to 4. So, the servant, he received a caveat from Abraham. If he cannot find a woman willing to return to Canaan to marry Isaac, then the servant will be released from this oath. Abraham, however, is very confident that God will make this happen, even sending an angel to guarantee his success, as we're going to see in verses 5 to 9. The servant gets on his way. He packs lots of gifts. In fact, he prepares about 10 camels, and boom, he's in Mesopotamia at the town called Nahor. Nahor, which also was named after his brother, that is after Abraham's brother, called Nahor. He shares his name with Abraham's brother, this particular town. Eager not to fail in his mission, the servant prayed to Abraham's God, that is the God of the heavens and the earth, the one who created the heavens and the earth, the God, the Almighty. And he did ask if any of the young women that were coming to draw water from the well would offer water to him and to his 10 camels. If such a lady came out and did give that offer, then she would be the one that is appointed to be Isaac's wife. We'll find that in verse 10 to 14. Before, he finished praying in his heart, there came a beautiful damsel called Rebekah. She entered into the scene and does exactly as the servant had asked. He immediately gave expensive jewelry to Rebekah. He asked if her family has room to accommodate him, his own colleagues, and the entire company that he held. And that included the 10 camels, plus all the goods that were named on those camels. He asked in a form of a conversation that he held with Rebekah who her father was. When Rebekah named her father, the servant was very happy. At that moment, he knew exactly who she was. She's the granddaughter of Abraham's own brother, Nahor. This was better even than the servant had actually hoped for. In fact, he just completely saw the beautiful blessing of God on his journey. He knows at this very moment that the Lord has led him to the exact young lady intended for Isaac. As Abraham had requested, He had found Abraham's kinsman, and not only that, he also identified a bride for Isaac. He immediately fell down and worshipped the Lord right in front of Rebekah, as we'll see in verses 24 to 27. Rebekah, this beautiful damsel, she did hurry and go home to inform the relatives. She informed her brother Laban, quite an interesting character as well. We'll find when we study about Jacob. Very interesting one, very a man who loves a lot of gold and silver. On telling on telling Laban, and Laban saying these beautiful joys there on Rebekah, he rushed to the well to welcome the servant, but mostly probably to see how much this guy had brought with him. Invited to the home of Rebekah's father Bethuel, the servant presented his mission, telling in great detail how, the Lord had led him to Rebekah. Finally, as they were, before having the meal, he asked if they would give Rebekah in marriage to his master's son, Isaac. Thankfully, they did agree, stating they could not do anything, that was blessed by God, as we'll see that in 28 to 51. After brief negotiation, the morning came and Rebekah agreed to live with them, travel back to the land of Canaan so she can go and marry her husband, Isaac, who is there eagerly waiting for his bride. At the end of the journey, she met Isaac, now 40 years old, for the very first time in verses 20. He allowed her to live in the tent of the late mother, Sarah. Another interesting analogy as to why she had to live in Sarah's tent. At this point, of course, Sarah had just, passed away shortly, as we did see in chapter 33. Soon, they were happily married, as we're going to see in verses 52 to 67. That's literally the summary of Genesis 24. To find a whole detail or a full episode of this summary, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, or you could go to our website, that is www.abdiministries.org. You'll find the full episode of the entire Genesis chapter 24.